very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to Primetime News coming to you live from Newsfirst Studio R. I'm Arundhati Mudal-Naik. Let's take a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
President calls on most venerable Dr. Ittapane Lanka. Prime Minister calls on most venerable Napane Pemasirithera. Vasudeva ready to take up the position of the Speaker for a short period. Sri Lanka police launches project to protect the environment.
And now the story is in detail. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa arrived at the Rukmale Sri Dharmavijayaloka Viharya today.
President, who arrived at the Sri Dharmavijayaloka Viharya, first engaged in religious observances. Thereafter, he called upon the Mahanayaka of the Kotte Sri Kalyani Samagri Dharma Mahasangha Sabhava, Most Venerable Dr. Ittapane Lanka, and obtained his blessings. He directly became the president. That is something that other politicians should take note of. He started his journey with the victory of the presidency. His victory will benefit not only the citizens of the nation, but the whole world. If this journey continues, I believe the nation will step into a good path. Identifying issues which were not identified before should be your first task. The other thing is, as the president of the nation, don't think that you should participate in everything that happens in this country. A president is not someone who would spend hours and hours going from one event to another around the country. Your valuable time should be spent to execute orders that will benefit the nation. We have a diverse amount of races in this country. You should think that all of these races are one and they are your people. Even though various opinions and criticisms were expressed during campaigning, now you should consider all of them as citizens and your own children who are under your watch. Don't get upset with me when I say this. Don't think that these 5 years will be extended to another 10 or 20 years. When you come to this position, you must think that you came to this position to serve the nation for 5 years. At the beginning of this journey, you should take the proper decisions, appoint the right advisors, and you should commence this journey. After an year, when you look back, you should see some progress. When you look back after a year, that progress should motivate you. In the same manner, after 2 years, after 3 years, after 4 years, and after 5 years, when you look back, you should feel that you had served the nation right.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived at the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic today.
The Prime Minister obtained blessings from the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic and took part in religious activities at the Pahalamaluwa. A group including the Diyavadana Nilame Pradeep Nilanga Dala were present at this location. The Prime Minister then arrived at Hurikaduwa Sri Vidyasagara Pirivena and called on the Mahanayaka of the Sri Lanka Ramanya chapter, Most Venerable Napane Pemasirithera. The Prime Minister then arrived at the Gatabe Rajopavanarame and called on the chief incumbent, Most Venerable Kappatiyagoda Sirivimala Thero, and obtained his blessings.
ඉතින් වටම ඒ සුසංයෝගයෙන් සමෘද්ධිය බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඒ සමෘද්ධිය ඒකාන්තයෙන් ඉෂ්ට වෙයි කියලා අපේ අපේක්ෂාවක් තියෙනවා. ඒක බංගත්වයට පත් කරන්නේ නැතුව ඒ විදිහටම සිද්ධ වෙයි කියලා අපි ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරනවා.
ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ මේ
එන්නාට සමාජයේ ඔක්කොම මිනිස්සු නෙවෙයි ඉන්නේ. සතුරෝ මිතුරෝ දෙගොල්ලම ඉන්නවා. ඒ නිසා ඔබතුමන්ගේ එතුමන්ගේ ආරක්ෂාව ගැන උගා සලකන්න. අපේ බණ්ඩාරනායක මහත්තයාට තුනේ ওই වැඩේ තමයි. ජනතාව අතරට යනකොට බොහොම පරිස්සමෙන් කටයුතු කරන්න. මේක අවුරුදු 25 විතර දිනෙන් පුරා මේ ආණ්ඩුව හරියට කරගෙන ගියා.
මේ ආසනික අවකාලික ආණ්ඩුවක්
ඔය දැන් තිබුණේ
අන්දර් කියන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක නම් ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂත් විරුද්ධව අන්දර් එනවා.
The Prime Minister held a cordial discussion with the public who had gathered at the Rajo Pavanarama and then left the location. The Dhamma School building of the Veerambugedara Ranvalagedara Sri Bodhirukkarame was declared open by the Prime Minister.
This is a temporary government. This is a 15-member temporary cabinet. When this is reduced, it is like reducing 4 provincial councils into 2. There are many talented people. Since we only chose 15, there are many who are disappointed. I am aware of this. All of them said that the country should benefit, and they said they will remain patient during the coming few months.
The polling station organisers of the United National Party convened a media briefing today.
We hope that they will respect the mandate of the people and that there will be a change in the UNP. 5.5 million votes is a very high number. If we are to secure our votes at the upcoming election, the support of the leadership is important, and I believe this should be handed over to a young leadership. The support of the leadership is important, and I believe this should be handed over to a young leadership.
If there is a general election, I do not think that there will be more than 40 parliamentary seats. When we held a demonstration at Temple Trees, we were there for 9 days. The leadership did not even thank us.
He feels one person. If that person loses, he continues his political journey and feels another person. That person also loses, he continues. There should be some respect to the mandate of the people. How else will you be a leader if the members are going away from the party and if we are losing all the elections? If that is happening from the past, I think the best thing to do is to hand this over to a leadership with a lot of energy.
Ashoka Dhanavanshu, who is the UNP Balapiti electorate organiser, convened a media briefing today.
I was in politics during the latter part of J.R. Jayawardena's presidency and during the full tenure of President Premadasa. I was working full-time at the Sirikota for 15 years. Sajith Premadasa has been able to secure 5.5 million votes amidst a lot of challenges. He was the candidate that the country asked for, and he is the person the country wants to see as the leader of the party. If this opportunity is given, it is not difficult to resurrect this party in 5 years.
රට ඉල්ලන දැන් පක්ෂ නායකයා එතුමා නායකයා කළා පක්ෂය යලි නගා හිටවන්න අවුරුදු 5ක් ඇතුළත කිසිම අමාරුවක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ කියන එක මට කියන්න පුළුවන්.
A group of UNP members of the Biyagama Pradesh Sabha also convened a media briefing.
The grassroots level party supporters have informed us of the involvement of party leadership and a few around him for the defeat. We did not receive any support at the ground level. We did not receive any financial assistance from the leadership or through Sirikota. We state this with responsibility.
The village level completely rejects your leadership and your opposition leader position. There is no use for us from your leadership. If you contested this election, you will not receive even 1 million votes. That is for certain. The people in the village said, if you would participate in a meeting, the people will not come. You wanted to save your Prime Minister position. You did not want to save the party supporters.
A public meeting to thank the people who cast their votes to Sajith Premadasa was held in the Thalava area in Anuradhapura today. The event was held under the auspices of the former opposition leader of the North Central Provincial Council, Anil Ratnayaka.
He is the common leader of the country. He is the leader who received the votes from all around the country. He is Sajith Premadasa. The others have become leaders of a certain faction. The force that will be created together with Sajith will be the force that will become victorious in this country. We are ready to embark on a journey with Sajith without Ranil. There are enough and more people to go on this journey with Sajith. I do not care about the others. If Ranil is in the UNP, not a single vote will be cast for the UNP. That is a pledge.
On to one of our headline-making stories. Parliamentarian Vasudeva Nanayakkara expressed the following views about the position of the Speaker in Parliament at a media briefing held today.
ඔබතුමාගේ නම යෝජනා වෙලා තියෙනවායි කියලා දැනගන්න තියෙනවා කතානායක ධූරය සඳහා. ඔබතුමාගේ කැමැත්ත කොහොමද?
As a political figure, I would like to continue my usual affairs in the future. But if I am given the position of the Speaker for a short period of time, I am ready to take up that responsibility. I will appreciate it if I am indeed selected.
ඒක මම අගය කිරීමකුත් කරනවා. ඒ සඳහා මාව තෝරාගත්තා.
එතකොට සර් ඉදිරි අවුරුදු
For that, they have to find someone else. I am not ready to remain as a speaker for a long time. More than anything else, my political affairs and my character in politics are important to me.
දේශපාලන ජීවිතය මගේ දේශපාලන ක්‍රියාකාරීත්වය මට ලොකුයි ඔක්කොටම වඩා.
කතානායක ධූරය මේ මාස 3 කාලය සඳහා කැමතියි.
බාර ගන්න කැමතියි.
Yes, I would. It is a good experience. It is a valuable experience to finally become the Speaker of the Parliament after attempting to disrupt the activities of the Speaker for a long time. I will follow the attitude of Chamal Rajapaksa when he was the Speaker.
හිටියා නේද අපේ චමල් රාජපක්ෂ? එතුමා හිටියා.
ඉතින් ඇයි චමල් රාජපක්ෂ?
ඒක
Yes, they could have given him the position of the Speaker and given me his ministry. We don't speak like that. There should be a reason. One brother is president, another is the prime minister, and appointing another as the speaker.
SLPP's Meedgama Balamandala meeting got underway today under the auspices of Minister Prasanna Ranatunga.
Provincial politicians and members representing the SLPP in the area attended the meeting.
We have a major challenge in this country. We have to set up an interim government without a majority. We will not be able to present a budget. Even if we do, we are not sure that it would be passed. Our time will end by end of February. We will definitely go for an election. After the election, with the majority given by the people, we will be able to appoint Mahinda Rajapaksa as the Prime Minister. Thereafter, we will be able to fulfill the aspirations of the people. We don't have a majority in the parliament. If we are to establish a majority, we have to join in Tamil and Muslim extremist leaders. However, this election result showed us that we don't have to do this. That is why the Sinhalese majority of this country gave the power to Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The cabinet has been reduced to 15. Many hearts have been hurt, but everyone who was called told that the people of this country voted for us to work for the country, and therefore all cannot be given ministerial posts. We need to make some sacrifices too, just as we ask the people of the country to make sacrifices. We need to set the precedents. Then he reduced the number of vehicles. I personally do not approve it because his security is more important. If something happened to him, who will take this forward?
Also in local news, Sri Lanka police launched an island-wide environment protection campaign with the re-establishment of the Police Environmental Protection Division.
The event was held at the Independence Square premises. Many officers, including police spokesperson SSP Ruwan Gunasekara, attended the event. Cleaning programs were held in Galle Face Screen and PETA in line with the event.
Sri Lanka Police.
It's necessary to point out that on the advice of His Excellency the President and under the guidance of the Secretary of Defence, this massive operation to protect the environment was launched. He started restructuring the Environmental Division and as well as the Environmental Unit of Sri Lanka Police. Accordingly, steps were taken to appoint a new DIG in charge of the Environment Unit and a new Director in charge of the Environmental Division. The environmental units have been re-established in all police stations in the country. Acting IGP CD Vikramaratne presided over an event held at the Police Fingerprint Division. Distribution of environmental uniforms to police officers was also held.
අපේ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව අපි ඉන්න වෙලාව රටේ විනය පවත්වාගෙන යනවා. මිනිස්සුන්ට දැනෙන්න ඕනේ වෙන රටේ විනයක් තියෙනවා කියන්නේ. ඒකින්ද කමුන්නස ඔක්කොම මේ නිලම්පොලේ බලය දීලා තියෙනවා. වයනට වැඩ කරන්න ලැබිලා. එතකොට මහ ජනතාව ඒක බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මේ රටේ මහ ජනතාව පොලිසියෙන් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ ඒක යාමාර්ගයේ ගෙනීම සඳහා අපි ඒගොල්ලන්ට උදව් කරනවා. හැමදාම මේ තුන්වෙනි ලෝකයක් රටයි කියලා කියන්නේ නැහැ. අපි කියනකොට මොකද්ද ශ්‍රී ලංකාව දිනුවන රටකේ තුන්වෙනි ලෝකයේ දිනුවන රටේ කියලා. නීති ආසාමය පිළිවෙල විනයක් කියන එකක් හදන්න ඕනේ. ඒක තියෙන පොලිසියක්.
An awareness program for pedestrians and drivers was held in Waligama, Matara, headed by the officers of the Waligama police.
The awareness program is really helpful. Sometimes we face the risk of meeting with an accident as we cross the road without any precautions. It will not happen again.
This program, implemented under the guidance of the President and police, is a good initiative as it safeguards the security of everyone.
Defence Secretary retired Major General Kamal Gunaratne expressed the following views during a visit to the Mihintale sacred grounds in Anuradhapura.
The Defence Secretary called on the chief incumbent of the Mihintala Rajamaha Viharaya, Venerable Walava Hanguna Vave Dhammarathanathera. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa instructed me to meet with Ranil Wickremesinghe. He was worried that with the resignation of the Prime Minister, his supporters have a security concern. I guarantee the former Prime Minister that we will make sure that none of their party supporters would be harmed in any way. After that meeting, I came back to the ministry and met with the IGP and the Army Commander. I called on the Army Commander because if a situation that the police could not control arise, we would have to deploy the army. Other than that, all instructions were given to the IGP. I informed him that there shouldn't be any political motivated tense situations. Some say that the army would be brought into control and the democracy of the country would be lost. I, as the Defence Secretary, will guarantee that there will be no such situation. We will take this country forward as a democracy. The Defence Secretary also spoke on the current government's agenda on eradicating drugs in the country. Unlike any other time, our country has become a hub for drugs. As the Defence Secretary, I have informed the Navy to increase the patrolling done on seas around Sri Lanka and put an end to the maritime route for drugs. We held 3 meetings in the ministry. The first was the intelligence, the second was with the police officers controlling traffic. The third was with the narcotics officers. We will take all measures to put an end to this. We believe that we can do it and we will take this giant program forward. The Defence Secretary also answered the questions raised by journalists about the April 21st attacks. Even before becoming the president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa has promised the Cardinal that we will carry out this investigation properly and punish all those responsible. I know he is a person who does what he says. Therefore, I believe that he will do justice to the families of those who lost their lives.
Several drug raids were conducted in many areas in Balangoda and Maravilla.
The raid was conducted in Balangoda, Galkadur area, following a tip-off that was received by the Vevelwatta police. 5 people were arrested for the possession of drugs known as ice, hashish and Kerala ganja. Police also seized a brand new vehicle during the raid. Meanwhile, 2 more individuals were arrested by Maravilla police for smuggling heroin under the guise of a shaman last night in Marada Maravilla. According to the police, 8,000 milligrams of heroin has been taken into custody during the arrest. A brand new vehicle and many equipment used in the ritual has been taken into police custody as well. Court ordered to place the suspects under remand custody for 14 days after they were produced before the Maravilla magistrate this evening.
The police scene of crime officers have commenced further investigations into the fire that broke out at a chemical factory in Angulana, Moratuar recently. The police spokesman's office said that the government analyst report on the fire had not yet been received. The fire that broke out at a chemical factory last Friday in the Angulana area in Moratuar lasted for more than 5 hours. The Sunday Times reported today that the new government has put on hold a string of programs of the former UNF government.
Quoting officials, the paper says newly appointed Treasury Secretary S.R. Artigala has issued circulars and instructions to banks, ministries, departments and state-owned enterprises informing them of the decision. Among those projects put on hold are at least 11 concessionary loan schemes introduced under the Enterprise Sri Lanka program and implemented through state banks. State banks had confirmed that the loan schemes had been put on hold and that applications would not be processed. The paper, quoting a Treasury official, said that at least 7,000 appointments were also put on hold. The Treasury Secretary in another circular suspended corporate social responsibility activities of state-owned enterprises. The circular noted that SOEs had been executing a vast number of CSR activities, including sponsorships, donations and advertisements, without a clear objective of achieving the government's development goals. Meanwhile, a circular issued by the Presidential Secretariat suspending foreign tours of all state employees was amended later to include strict administrative procedures. The previous government's ambitious development projects such as Gamperaliya Rapid Rural Development Project and Enterprise Sri Lanka are under review. According to the available data in 2018, 19.882 billion has been spent for the 51,509 projects under the Gamperaliya project. The United National Front government had allocated 48.81 billion rupees for these projects.
The main opposition of United Kingdom, the Labour Party, emphasised the protection of human rights for minorities in Sri Lanka in their manifesto for the 2019 UK general elections under policies titled A New Internationalism.
Under the heading of effective diplomacy, the manifesto of the centre-left political party says the Labour government will work through the UN and the Commonwealth to insist on the protection of human rights for Sri Lanka's minority Tamil and Muslim populations. The manifesto also reads that the Labour government will reform the international rules-based order to secure justice and accountability for breaches of human rights in international law, such as the bombing of hospitals in Syria, the illegal blockade of the Gaza Strip, the use of rape as a weapon of war against the Rohingya community in Myanmar and the indiscriminate bombardment of civilians in Yemen.
We now cross over to Newsfirst Muad Rasik for the weather update.
Welcome to Weather First. Now, currently the northeast monsoon is gradually developing over the island, and also it is set to fully establish on the 27th of this month, which is Wednesday onwards. So the north and the eastern part of the country will be affecting the most, as the showery condition will expected to enhance further in these areas, and very heavy showers from 100 to 150 millimeters are expected in the eastern part of the country, mainly the Ampara, Batiklu and Trincomalee district, as well as in the Badulla, Monragala and Polonnaruwa districts as well. And also showers around 100 millimeters are expected mainly in the northern part of the country from Kilinochi, Mana and Mullaitivu districts, as well as in the Anuradhapura, Kegol, Kalutara, Ratnapura, Norelia, and also down further under in the Gaul and Matra districts, as well as in the Gampaha district as well. So strong winds are expected from 40 to 50 kilometers per hour in the central hills, the north central province, northwestern province, as well as in the Trincomalee district as well. So the Met Department requests the general public to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning, strong winds, and of course heavy showers during the next few days.
Minister Mahinda Amaravira says that the entire country is coming under one rule of law.
The SLFP Central Balamandala meeting of Tangol was held under the auspices of Minister Mahinda Amaravira.
The President has the full authority to take direct decisions. When that is taking place, the law of the country is also developing. There are rackets in the country. The people of the country are hoping that Gotabaya Rajapaksa will teach all those racketeers a lesson. I would like to tell all those people, including drug dealers, they better find another means of income soon. If not, they could go to another country and continue their work. The ministries I hold include the Ministry of Transport and many departments, including the Railways Department. Not only that, there are over 50,000 employees and over 100 trade unions. I am not going to tarnish my name by going into these organizations. He has not started talking yet. He will prove it with his actions. If anyone in this country does any act of corruption, that person could be a minister, an MP, a member of the Pradesh Sabha, a government official, or a person who had helped him, but that culprit will surely be punished. I am certain of this.
Up next is a look at Action TV.
Dr. Suren Batagoda, the Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy, who from the end of 2014 have been making predictions of a scarcity of electricity without credible facts to support the claim, has once again commenced making statements of a possible shortage in 2020. Dr. Batagoda has sent this letter to the Chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka on the 20th of this month. The Secretary to the Ministry of Power and Energy did not stop by making claims of possible power shortages. He took steps to follow each of these predictions up with a proposal for emergency power purchases and took the extra step of justifying why these power purchase proposals had to be approved. All these purchases were to be done against the Electricity Act of our country. Since several of these proposals had to be rolled back against the outcry of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka on multiple occasions, the CEB has saved close to 4 billion rupees. However, the CEB had incurred losses far greater than this amount due to the various emergency power purchase agreements that had been reached against the Electricity Act of Sri Lanka as a result of Dr. Suren Batagoda and the mafia of senior officials of the CEB who enjoy the support of the political system as well. The manifesto of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa says steps will be taken to abolish agreements entered into by the present government to purchase electricity at exorbitant costs. It adds that the advantages accrued out of such action will be passed on to the consumer through a reduced electricity bill. It is clear through the letter Dr. Batagoda has sent to the Chairman of the Public Utilities Commission on the 20th of November that he has failed to read through the manifesto of the President. The letter seeks approval for 3 emergency power purchase agreements that have been rejected on a previous occasion by the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka. The PUCSL had rejected these emergency power purchase agreements as they are against the Electricity Act of Sri Lanka and therefore illegal. In addition to these 3 proposals, there are 2 more proposals in the letter sent by Dr. Suren Batagoda. The letter also points the finger at the PUCSL as being responsible for the power crisis in the country. However, this same secretary on multiple previous occasions, through letters to the chairman and the GM of the CEB, have blamed the inefficiencies and negligence of the CEB as the cause for the power crisis in Sri Lanka. It is clear that by copying this letter to the new President Secretary as well as the Treasury Secretary, Dr. Suren Batagoda is attempting to create a panic in the new government with regard to a so-called power crisis in the country, thereby paving the way for emergency power purchases to be carried out. Instead, what should be done is to investigate into the actions of this Ministry Secretary during the past 4 years as he made plans to carry out emergency power purchases in the country. Minister of Power and Energy, this is over to you.
The Sunday Times reported today that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa appears restrained by a constitutional conundrum on whether he can take on the portfolio of Defence Minister.
The paper reports, as President, the Constitution makes him the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, but the 19th Amendment arguably prohibits him from holding a ministry. In the 15-member interim cabinet that has been appointed, there is no Defence Minister included, but on Friday, the President issued a gazette keeping the Triforces to assist the police in maintaining law and order under the Public Security Ordinance. The paper adds the new government's legal advisers are seeking ways and means of resolving this either by bringing the armed forces as subjects under the President or seeking an opinion from the Supreme Court. At present, there is a Defence Secretary without a Defence Minister. A State or Deputy Minister will likely be appointed tomorrow to answer questions relating to defence matters in Parliament.
The way I read it is simple. I take it that His Excellency the President, even pursuant to the 19th Amendment, no constitutional bar to hold in the portfolio of defence for 2 reasons. Number one, Article 4B vests in a executive president by a direct exercise of franchise by the people. This has been continuously revisited when we were before the lordships of the Supreme Court on several constitutional matters. That executive power is directly vested in the executive president, and it is through that conduit of the president, the conduit of the executive, that executive power transfers upon the cabinet. So what is in the executive, which is executive power including the defence of the republic, is transferred on to a cabinet. And when you interpret constitutions, you can't just take one piece and interpret. You must interpret it in totality. I understand the argument against this is that because the 19th Amendment in one place specifies that the Cabinet of Ministers must be sworn in from members of Parliament. Now that I would say that cannot be read in isolation. Just like the last year, October, November, the matters that end up in the Supreme Court because of a dichotomy, if you like, or a paradoxical statement, one in one place and another place in the same constitution. However, I would read it in totality to say that the executive power of the people, including the defense of the republic, has been vested in an executive president. That power has gone from the people, the absolute holders of sovereign power in the republic, to an executive president. And it is through that executive president that a cabinet of ministers exercises that power. And therefore, I do not see any bar to His Excellency the President holding the portfolio of defense.
Fishermen had attempted to capture an animal spotted in the Medigama beach in Waligama. However, it is reported that the animal had set off to the sea. The fishermen, along with the Sri Lankan Navy officials, tried to capture the animal, but the efforts were futile. On the 21st, a similar animal was spotted in the Gaul Mihiripanna Sea. Is it the same animal spotted in both these places? And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a great week ahead of you. Good night.